What's up, people of YouTube? This is Prolix Enigma here with another best class setups of COD Ghosts. And I kind of brushed over this at the end of my last video, but I'm going to go over pretty much every primary weapon in the game at some point is what I want to do. And today I had my buddy Weimer pick out a gun for me to do, and here we go. Just so you guys know, I have used this weapon before for like a couple games, but when he told me to use this weapon, the first game that I put this gun on with, I got this gameplay. This is the first class that I used on it. I played a few more games to make sure that it was consistent enough, and I like it. So I'm not going to make this like an official class that I use all the time, but it's good enough to be in my class setups. So let's hop right into the class. So you can obviously see on screen what class I was using. It is the FAD with a suppressor and foregrip. And I like the suppressor and foregrip because, for one, the recoil is a little much, and two, because it can get a little wild, especially at long range engagements. So you kind of need it, especially with the way that you have to play with it. So just, brace yourself when you're listening to this video. But of course I have the P226 with a muzzle brake as my secondary, and no lethal or tacticals. I don't roll that way. And I have the Ready Up, Quick Draw, Marathon, Sit Rep, and Focus as my perks because, hey, whatever. And the strike package, of course, doesn't matter, never really does. It's just kind of there if you want to use it. You don't have to. You can use whatever you want. Again, I think that the perks and the attachments are the best options for this class setup. Anyways, let's hop into the video. Anyways, guys, so in this video, we will be playing on the map Whiteout, and I thought that right off the bat when I saw this map, first of all, I don't really care for this map, but I figured, it's really going to work well for this type of gun, for this play style, especially if I can control the map in the locations that I really need to pull off the win and to get a lot of kills. And let me remind you that this is my first game of the day and my first game with this gun today. And I'd only used it a few times before that because I had heard it was really, really poopy. So as you can see, I'm sitting here a little bit because I halfway corrected myself. I tend to like to run out there, right out into that spot that I just crossed, and I get killed right off the bat. And I never really noticed it until now what I was doing wrong. But now people like to rush up that way from that back spawn. So I kind of wait it off and see if anybody's going to walk out there in front of me, and then I'll either go out there or I'll turn around and go back the other way to the picket fences and buildings and stuff. So throughout this, so far, you've probably seen me be kind of defensive, sort of kind of defensive. I'm not pushing really, really hard. I'm kind of holding up, waiting to see if I can see any movement in any of the buildings or any of the areas. And I see that guy on my mini-map, so I'm going to chase him down a little bit. But I don't see anybody, and I don't want to push too far into their spawn because the last thing I need is the spawns flipping right away, right off the bat. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking, well, it's pushed up a little bit more to the ship, so I'm already kind of at a bit of a disadvantage. But this weapon, when you're using it, you always want to remember it's one of those guns in Call of Duty Ghosts, and there's a few of those guns, but it's another one of those guns in Call of Duty Ghosts where you want to set up the gunfights to your advantage. You always want to have the vantage point on somebody else. And you don't want to give them any possible ways to get the upper hand on you because, for one, it has a lot of recoil. Whether you have a suppressor and you have a foregrip on it, it has a lot of recoil. It's not something that I would really recommend a lot of you guys to do, is put something that would, maybe make it more damaging or anything, because the fire rate kind of makes up for its lack of damage, I guess, because it's spitting out more bullets. And with the low damage, it kind of makes up for it. You can still tell that the developers tried to make it that way, and it sort of kind of worked. So basically, the more you shoot, it shoots faster. They're weaker bullets, but you're putting more bullets out. And for the people who do not have good aim, such as myself, it can put you at a really, really big disadvantage at times because if you're just spraying bullets all over the place, on top of the idea that it has that recoil, the fact that it has that recoil, it can throw you off target, you miss your shots, and it makes you look like an idiot. So that's basically where we stand with this gun. So this is why you always want to be defensive. You don't necessarily have to camp. Later on in this video, if the gameplay actually gets to that point, if I don't cut it off before that, you will see me being really, really laid back, kind of holding down a particular side of the map instead of pushing forward like you would normally see me doing if I was using a Remington or a, Honey Badger. I can do it with Honey Badger, which was my last video that didn't get a lot of positive feedback, but that's okay. Or I did get a lot of views. I'm gonna hope for more views out of this. But basically, this is a gun that takes not necessarily, well, it does take skill to use. You have to be able to aim. You have to be able to be accurate enough to pick people off at a long range because you can't get up in somebody's face with this a lot of the time. Although, I did notice that the hipfire spread for this weapon is rather good. I thought it was going to be really, really bad. I felt like with the recoil that I knew it had, that if you decided to hipfire, you were just going to miss every shot. And I said with the Remington that it's never a good idea to hipfire, but I used the hipfire on this. I think I might have even done it in this video, and I liked it. So I should have had that kill right there. So it's all up to preference, and you just kind of gotta mess with it a little bit. And as long as you can aim, you can use this weapon. As long as you're patient, you can use this weapon. So the two key steps when you're using this class is to make sure that you're patient. You wait for the enemies to come to you. Don't camp in one spot, but wait for the enemies to come to you. Hold down one part of the map or one particular building or something like that. Again, that does not mean place IEDs in the doors and sentry guns in the windows. Just make sure you're moving around and being somewhat active, but not going out into the middle of the map and trying to win gunfights that you're not going to win, unless you know that the enemy is there and that you have the upper hand on him. And then the second one is to be accurate, be precise. Don't take shots that you know you're not going to make. It's like being in basketball and taking a half-court shot, when you still have 5 minutes left in the quarter. You just don't do it. More than likely, you're not going to make that shot. It's no different than being all the way across the map and then holding down the trigger at somebody on the other side. You just don't do it. Also, you always, always, always want to use the burst. You don't want to just full auto, hold down the trigger, spraying and praying, because it does not work. You'll see me use the burst a lot in here. Unless you're in somebody's face and somebody's right in front of you, or their back is turned, then you can just hold down the trigger and spray at them because you're close range. You can lock on faster than long range. So of course that's okay, but at a distance you always want to do little burst shots, because otherwise, more than likely, you're going to miss your shots. They're going to be able to kill you faster because their bullets more than likely will do more damage. Because on top of having suppressor on this class and having it be the FAD, which is not that great of a weapon as it is, it doesn't mix well, and the recoil. So once again, use the burst. Step 1, set up the engagement to your advantage. Step 2, be precise from long range, medium range. Try not to get into too many close range engagements. If you do, you can hip fire. And step 3, use the burst fire to your advantage. Always use it to your advantage. Somebody gets away from you when you're doing burst, be patient. That goes back to the other thing I said. Be patient, wait for them to come out again. Because more than likely, if they're a bad player, they're not going to know to stay away from you and go the opposite way. They're going to peek their head out again, or try flanking from the other alternate route, which isn't going to matter anyway because you can still see that route. So you got to play smart. You got to, think like a pro player would when you're using this weapon. Just don't push too hard. So I think I've given enough information on this class setup, and I think you guys could use this if you really, really want to. And I would like to see some comments down below what you guys think of it, and if you guys used it, it would be a really, really good thing. I don't like the FAD. Personally, it's not going to be one of my primary classes. I'll have to mess with it a little bit more, but it is consistent enough. I can go double positive with it, and I can win games with it, so you can't really complain. Anyways, guys, like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below what you guys thought of the video, the class, if you've used it, the gun itself, all of those things. Twitter and Facebook links will be down in the description, and the video you will see on screen will be my Would You Rather video from yesterday, late Monday, actually. It was supposed to be scheduled, but it got all screwed up. Anyways, guys, it'll be the Would You Rather that I did with Prolix Vortex, and deuces.